Namaskar, welcome in Editorial Pulse. Now headlines. Ballot points, Times of India. Go after the big unions, let minor voices go. The Economic Times. Now full editorials. Ballot points, the Times of India. SIR in Bengal has raised several questions, including for the spirit of electoral democracy. 2 weeks to elections, around 27 lakh people, as things stand, will not be able to vote in upcoming Bengal election. This is unprecedented and deeply worrying. Their status in the electorate is suspended because processes that will allow them to be on the new voter roll being created through EC's special intensive revision have not been completed. The question is, how did the system go to this point? The onus of proving eligibility was passed on to the voter because of the short time frame of just 5 months to create a new electoral roll. The process was inevitably going to be challenging, chaotic, and in effort unfair. Bengal is densely populated with diverse communities, high rates of partial literacy, also hobbled by poor tech upgrades and an uneven documentation culture, which state level documents or residency papers were legit for SIR has not been consistently determined. Recall Aadhaar in Bihar, Bengal, Muslim uh, Matuas, Nepalis have all suffered. The breakdown in trust between TMC, the incumbent party in Bengal government, and CEC has meant a fractious rollout. Vitiated exchanges, the Supreme Court stepped in to make the last mile journey smoother, but that has not exactly worked out. Indian citizenship multi-layered show deciding on document that prove citizenship needs thinking through, training and time. In election time with tight deadlines, how can some tribunals be enough? That fully documented Bengalis have got excluded showed that deepening on a tech interface which didn't even account for spelling variations was an error. And there is this robotic demand for perfect papers in a highly unusual society. If the idea of Indian citizenship has hardened or narrowed, election commission should have had a nationwide program conducted over a longish period, sensitizing everyone before embarking on SIR. Most important, there is a principle involved there. Recall what jurisprudence say: better a hundred guilty persons go free than one innocent getting convicted. The sum applies to the same applies to the fundamental right to vote. Let's assume a huge number, says 25 lakh of those excluded in Bengal are found to be ineligible after a thorough check. That still leaves around 2 lakh voters who will have lost their franchise. What we can't dismiss that as a small proportion of voters. We have to recognize it's a big blow to the spirit of electoral democracy. Go after the big UNs, let minor voices go. The Economic Times. Less less legal cluster, better economic outcome. Government of India's second wave of decriminalizing decriminalizing minor offences as reflected in the passage of Jan Biswas Amendment of Provision Bill last week builds on the gains from the first round to improve ease of doing business. replacing jail terms with fines for small infractions reduces the compliance burden on businesses while unclosing, unclogging the judicial pipeline. There is a case to be made that freeing up capacity for productive activity improves both economic output and governance. India's experience bears out the theoretical underpinnings of a considerable overhaul of laws that can be as reformative as any big ticket item of economic liberalization. As the PM had reiterated, there is a need for India to contemporize its body of laws, parts of which go back a couple of centuries and have fallen out of step with requirement of a modern economy. A rapidly growing economy like India's needs simple, effective, and enforceable legislation. It must provide an effective regulatory environment for the new economy, and having a large overhang of unnecessary laws slows business. The NDA has been consistent in its effort to deliver more governance with less government. Uh, ras- Rationalizing its legislative archives is a core requirement in its endeavor. Market forces work best in a lightly regulated environment. Since the economic liberalization of the 1990s, large chunks of the economy has been deregulated and the economy has been posting high rates of growth despite external shocks. Structurally, the economy has gained strength despite the unfinished economic reform agenda. Decriminalizing across a wide array of laws does not run into the moral hazard of amnesty schemes that tend to penalize good behavior. It merely adjusts the deterrence yardsticks for them to be more relevant. This makes it an obvious area of reform for government serious about placing the economy on a higher growth trajectory. Paperwork aside, decriminalizing is a win-win situation for administrators and administered. Improved outcomes should now follow. Keep them going, Government of India. Thank you. Stay with us.